Alright, real quick video on how you make a cabinet door, shaker style. Check it out.
Alright, let's get into it. We're going to rip up some maple to 5.5 inches. I got a smooth edge on one side, so we're just going to use the table saw to straighten it out. Run them through the planer to get them down to size. Flatten them out. Make sure that we don't have any bows in them, because that'll show up later when you're trying to glue it up. So real important to get these things flat. Use your planer, whatever you got. Just don't let that thing get bowed up. Then I'm gonna cut a little oversized, depending on the size of your cabinet. It'll vary, but cut them a little bit oversized. That way you can trim them to the exact size later. And again, these are gonna be both sides, both rails, both styles coming out of these one piece. That's why we cut them so wide. We make sure that we get plenty of extra space in case we need to trim it off later. Then I like to run mine through the joiner, flatten out those edges. It's going to give us a little bit cleaner look when we put it on the router table. It's also going to make sure we have straight edges to work with, because even though this is coming S3S, doesn't always have the straightest lines on the side. Work those through the joiner. You can tell in Florida it's a little toasty over here. The gray shirt shows all that sweat. I'm gonna set up a little jig for my router table to hold the piece. Get those dados cut in the sides. You see we rip it through. It's got a little piece on the back in order to avoid any tear out. And then I just flip it around and run it through the other side. And then you just do that with all your pieces. Run through all the pieces that you got, get those dados in them, and then take them over to the table saw, and you're gonna cut them down. I like to have 2 1/4 on my final width, so I cut them to 2 1/2. And then I like to sand the inside portion, just because those are tough pieces to hit later after glue up. So I sand them now, hit them with the orbital sander, take a little piece and kind of clean up those inside edges. That'll also help that floating panel slide in a little bit easier at glue up. I did cut those floating panels off camera. Got those ready. It's important to sand those before you install them as well. You want to pre-sand it, that way you're not running a power sander up against the edges of your door frame. Glue up's pretty simple. Get some glue on the tendons, put them in the mortise. Make sure that you're flat, don't over tighten. You don't want to make it pop up there in the middle. But make sure it's snug and it's not going anywhere. Good glue on all parts of that tendon. And just slide it right in there. Just get a little tap, tap, tap-a-roo. And then tighten it up. It's just about all there is to it. Once the glue dries, you get them sanded up.
Alright, pretty simple. Cabinet doors, man. Hopefully you learned something. It's a pretty simple process, but maybe you picked up a little jig or a little technique that'll make it a little bit easier for you in the future. If you did learn something, please hit the subscribe button, and we'll see y'all next time.